Welcome back to Pause to Unedit Yourself, a podcast where reflection meets transformation, where we explore the art of becoming one intentional pause at a time. I'm your host, Anushka, and each episode offers you a chance to press pause and explore bite sized insights and soulful reflections from my own journey of introspection in the hope it will help you too on your path of personal evolution. Whether you're feeling stuck, seeking clarity, or simply wanting to expand, my hope is that this becomes a space of inspiration and deep remembering, guiding you to evolve from within and uncover the infinite potential that lives inside each and every one of you. Today's episode is something I have reflected on for a long time, and something that I started to explore a lot more in depth over the last few years. And this is the aspect of freedom, because you see, we're all on this quest for freedom to be ourselves, to live fully in our truest sense, and to really experience life in a way that's really authentic and true. So, what exactly is stopping us living this life that we want to experience? And why do we constantly feel restricted or even trapped at times, that we feel that we need to escape and have this notion of freedom? Today, I really wanted to explore what freedom truly means and what holds us back from living in it, and how we can really reclaim it to live more fully. So, let's start by actually understanding what is freedom. As I explored this, I started understanding that freedom actually goes beyond just physical or external restrictions. It is really a state of mind, it's a way of being. It's that inner feeling of lightness, of authenticity, and of expansion. But it's also quite complex. It's not about denying accountability or escaping from responsibilities or rejecting every rule. Real freedom, it's about creating a life that truly aligns with your truest self, free from all of the limitations that is imposed by outdated beliefs and insecurities. And freedom is a discovery, really. It's a realization that it's already within you. It's not something to be chased or acquired, it's inherently part of who you are, and it's waiting to be uncovered. And ultimately, freedom is where you have nothing to hide and nothing to prove to anyone. So, what actually holds us back from freedom? Well, before you can be who you are, you really have to let go of who you are not. And that's the hard part, because when we seek freedom, we seek it as it's outside of us. And what happens is that we start looking for ways to escape from responsibilities, from those expectations or situations that we feel are holding us back. I know I've done it many times where, think about it, just like, okay, I just want to go away. I just want to escape this reality. Um, And you think, okay, going on a holiday is going to solve your problems, or going traveling for a while is going to solve your problems. But when you come back and you step out of that bubble it, that's been created, you still get left with that sentiment, that feeling that what you were looking for, you still haven't found. And then you still feel trapped and you still feel that sense of, well, I guess, entrapment, really, in a way, from responsibilities, from expectations. And so what I realized was that we are rarely held back by those external forces. That's not what's holding us back. Ultimately, though, it's that internal beliefs that we carry. And that's what restrict us. Because from a young age, what happens is that we start forming beliefs about ourselves, about others, and the world around us. And these programs that have been imprinted into our subconscious from when we started learning about the world around us, these beliefs somehow become part of how we identify with ourselves, with the world and everything and everyone we interact with. These beliefs become our identity, shaping how we interpret and how we react to life. They create this invisible boundaries that really limit our potential. And then these beliefs is what confines us to a certain way of thinking, a certain way of feeling, and a certain way of behaving. And so what I realized was that to really experience that true freedom, you know, I had to sit and question these beliefs. I had to start letting go of who I thought I needed to be in order to discover who I truly was. So you might be asking now, well, how can we identify where we are not free in our lives? Well, what I learned was that the key is to learn to recognize each time something pops up, something triggers you, something that makes you uncomfortable. Because all of these opportunities that cause that level of discomfort is where your soul is being pushed to grow and evolve. And one way to observe your reactions is that every time something triggers you, angers you, there's resentment, there's jealousy, view it as a message from within to not react, but to pause and garner awareness to what that situation is really, really trying to teach you. Because ultimately, when you sit with these triggers, that they're not random. They actually start to reveal the places where you're holding on to some level of limiting beliefs of where you feel threatened. And one of the powerful things that I learned was that once I started learning to recognize that every situation is actually neutral, but it's the meaning that we give to it, but how we choose to experience it. For example, by reacting or by responding, we start to develop this awareness and you start to change your thoughts and beliefs and ultimately your habits. So, what happens then is that what no longer serves you gets corrected, and you start letting go of areas then of where you felt that you were trapped, that you were felt that you were in chains. Part of this journey is a journey of reflection. And so, ask yourself, why does this particular situation trigger me? What beliefs or fears are at the root of this reaction? And am I blaming someone else for how I feel? And these questions will then guide you into self awareness, into revealing what you are holding on to and why. Because often these reactions come from a place of insecurity, of fear, of past hurt. And by observing these patterns, you can begin to shift your mindset by, and letting go of these old beliefs that no longer serve you. And then slowly through this journey, of moving from reaction to reflection, you will start to see that life presents us with opportunities for growth every single day. And when we pause and reflect instead of reacting immediately, we have a chance to correct these patterns. And instead of viewing situations as good or bad, we can choose to see them as neutral. And the meaning that we give to it, that we assign to it, it comes from our own perspectives and beliefs. And so when we start to shift from reacting to reflecting, we create space for freedom to flourish because each moment becomes a chance to respond from a place of awareness rather than from emotional reactivity. And then that in turn breaks the chains of that old conditioning, of that old narrative, which is fear based and which we feel that we need to escape. So here are 5 steps to start your journey of creating freedom in your life. Firstly, embody your truth. Start aligning with who you are at your core, not who you think you should be. Because energy flows naturally when you're being your true self, focusing on what brings you joy and fulfillment without any insistence on any out. Two, cultivate the sense of self awareness. Notice the areas in your life where you feel restricted or stuck. What beliefs or fears are at the root of these feelings? Reflect on these beliefs and question the validity of these beliefs. Three, pause and reconnect. See, often our lives are so filled with noise that we forget to pause. So take a moment to be still, to detach from distractions, and to reconnect with yourself. Give yourself that gift of silence where you can just hear your inner truth. Four, act on joy, not fear. You see, when you make decisions based on what excites you and lights you up, you're operating from your true self. And so, by choosing actions that bring you that joy and fulfillment rather than actions based on fear or societal expectations, you start stepping into that freedom. And finally, if I fill your own focus on nourishing yourself first, because freedom really stems from self reliance and self compassion. When you're full, you can give from a place of abundance rather than from a place of need. So you are already free. You don't need to escape reality. What you need to do is to wake up to the illusion that keeps you trapped. There is an amazing quote by Peter Crone, who's the mind architect, and his whole work is around helping people free the mind. If you haven't heard of him, I would strongly suggest that you follow his podcast. And he says, quote, "We are spiritual beings, timeless and limitless, having a human experience. We become misidentified with the human form, our body and brain, which contains all of our conditioned limitations, such as believing we are not enough, we are not loved, we are not safe, we are not valued, etc. These all give rise to the predominant underlying human emotional of fear. and with it, the primal imperative to survive. This is what creates all human suffering, disease, dysfunction, scarcity, and exhaustion. Liberation is from these illusions of inadequacy and insecurity to reveal our true nature of freedom, love, and possibility. That is awakening. It is why we are here to free ourselves from all human suffering. Unquote. So ultimately, true freedom, it's a journey. It's not a destination. It's a continual process of questioning, releasing, and realigning with your authentic self. You don't need to become someone else, to put on masks or to be hide behind a facade. You just need to unlearn the limitations you have been conditioned to believe. And every experience, every person, every challenge offers an opportunity to grow closer to your true self and further from the beliefs that limit you. Because when you release the fear and shift into possibility, you start to create a life of freedom, of expansion, and of effortless joy. And in seeking freedom, remember that it's less about removing the chains and more about understanding that the chains were never there to begin with. And the freedom you seek is already within you. It's already within you, patiently waiting to be realized. As always, your time is valuable. It's the most precious commodity. So thank you so much for being here and sharing the space with me today. Thank you for pressing pause and choosing to journey inward and daring to become the highest expression of yourself. As always, I use these episodes as mini guides and reminders for myself that you can refer to whenever you need to check in with yourself for a moment of recalibration. So do feel free to save them and please do share with them with somebody who might need to hear them. And please do continue to share your comments and feedback too. It really does help me to know what resonates for you and what you would like to hear more of. See you on the next episode.